Hello, it's Tom. I hope you're doing well. Twins system recap. Going to talk about some of these midweek games, but before we do, just want to call out the July top 50 Twins prospect list on the channel is out. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. A couple other things I want to call out. I shared a bunch of Jason Wright's highlights at Limestone Pipeline recently, and Jamie Cameron's draft board is updated there. It has 118 players on it. Draft coming up next week, so check that out. And then speaking of next week, just want to call out before we get started on this one, I do have a bit of a different schedule going on next week, so don't be alarmed if programming is disrupted, we'll put it that way. Anyway, again, we're going to take a look at these midweek games. Monday, Tuesday, of course, the Twins, only one of these teams in action on Monday. Twins did take a series this week, once again. Also, another channel update. Twins are 42 and 46 as we head closer to, a decision time here in July. So I might be kind of turning things to talk more about the big club because things are getting very interesting here. Are they going to buy? Are they going to sell? A lot of that probably depends on these next few weeks. So these games are huge, and the Twins are playing pretty well and playing well on the road too. So anyway, also maybe a factor in that decision making as well is the minor league teams are not playing well. Not that I get too wrapped up in the results or performance of the whole teams, but that means there's just a lot of not great baseball being played, to be completely honest. The system had a split on Tuesday. Only the Colonels won on Wednesday, and nobody won on Thursday. So you see in the records, the Saints are 10 games over 500. The Muscles are over 500 as well, comfortably. But the win surge of 26 and 50. Ouch. And then the Colonels being under 500 is just so weird to me. Anyway, some news and notes. Kalen Culpepper was named to the Futures game, and Walker Jenkins was also added to the roster as a replacement. And Paul-Sean Pascolato was promoted to the Saints for the first time. He's been having a breakout season. See, they're posting a 2.65 ERA in the year while averaging 12.4 K per nine. That's like double what he had last season. Started the year in Cedar Rapids and had just 9 outings with Wichita in AA before this promotion. So we'll see if this is like a long-term thing for him or if he's just sort of filling in and then going to go back down. But pretty cool that he's getting this opportunity now. Anyway, moving on to Tuesday, which of course was the final day of June. So we'll talk about the June stars of the month as well. Calvin Fang, the third star, 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, great outing. 2025 third-round pick out of Harvard. He has a 0.84 ERA in 10 2/3 innings with Fort Myers, 13 strikeouts in those 10 2/3, topped out at 92.3 in this outing. Second star, Irvin Nunez, catcher for Fort Myers. Speaking of that video I shared of Jason Wright's, Irvin Nunez made a couple of really good throws to nail runners in that game. But this was a tie game in the top of the 8th inning, man on first with 1 out. Nunez falls behind 0-2, takes a pitch outside, and then hits an elevated sweeper out for the go-ahead homer. And the Muscles ended up winning by 1 run. So a huge home run for him, 2 for 4 with a homer, 2 runs, 2 RBI. He has a career OBP north of 400, too. Not a big power guy, but obviously supplying the home run there. So Irvin Nunez may be a name to get on your radar. First star, though, Walker Jenkins. Comes back with the Saints, helps a young fan, a kid standing with him during the anthem off the field after fainting, carries him back to the dugout for medical attention. You've probably seen that by now, but what a step up for Walker Jenkins in that situation, taking care of that young fan. But 3 for 5 with a double, a triple, and a stolen base for Walker Jenkins, 3 runs and an RBI. He has an OPS north of 1,000 in his first handful of games back with the Saints. In 30 total games with the Saints, he has 20 walks and 21 strikeouts. It's around a 15-16 rate for both strikeouts and walks. So, I don't know that we're seeing the kind of performance that you maybe dream upon when it's a top 10 overall prospect, a former top 5 pick in the draft. But he is absolutely holding his own. He's having professional plate appearances. He's, obviously had a big game here with some extra base hits. Is a difficult out, uses the whole field. Really is a difficult guy to try to expose in terms of pitching to. Great plate coverage, good strike zone discipline. So, I know he was out for a while, and it's kind of easy to harp on that. But this guy, man, can play ball. Honorable mentions. Matt Wallner, Cody Morissette, who hit a grand slam, Garrett Spain, Billy Amick for Wichita, Brandon Winokur, and then do want to call out Kalen Culpepper exited after being hit by a pitch in this one, but he did not need to go on the injured list. And then Dason Hill, 1 2/3 innings, a hit, no runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, dealing with some back discomfort right now. No word on how long he's going to be out or anything like that. But moving on, again, mentioned that it was the last day of June. So this was the June Star scoreboard. Ryan Sprock beats out Andrew Cossetti and Eduardo Tait. And you see down toward the bottom there, Preston Johnson. Pitcher is the June Star of the month. So Sprock, he had that 18-game hitting streak and reached base in all 21 games he played in June. 400 average, 535 OBP, a 600 slugging for an 1135 OPS. 7 multi-hit games, including a 4-hit game in which he also drew a walk. So reached base 5 times in that game. So Ryan Sprock, the June Star of the month, also would have been my pick for pitcher or hitter of the month. Preston Johnson takes the pitching side. It was not a good month pitching-wise, and as I've mentioned a couple times on here, it's not been a good year pitching performance-wise. But he did strike out 31 batters in 23 innings. That's a 12.1 K per 9 and a 32 strikeout percentage in June for Preston Johnson. Gave up 1 earned run or fewer in 4 of his 6 starts. So again, that's kind of how he took this honor. But it had a 4.70 ERA and 1.30 WHIP on the month. So not those numbers do not jump out. A mid-June poor outing really spoiled his overall numbers. So, to be honest, Preston Johnson, the star of the month, not to take anything away from him in June, but probably would not have been my June pick for pitcher of the month in the system. So anyway, moving on. 3 stars of Wednesday. Graham Brown of the Cedar Rapids Colonels. He had a 2-run game-time tying homer in the 7th inning. The Colonels were the only team to win on Wednesday, so kind of also giving some extra credit there. But Graham Brown went undrafted and spent all of last season in Indy ball before joining the org. 2nd star, Riley Quick. Here's some pitching performance for you. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts over those 4 innings. Struck out 7 of the 15 batters he faced, did Riley Quick. Only 1 walk. He also did only throw 63% of his pitches for strikes. That's not a horrible strike percentage or anything, but that was something he'd really been quite impressive with. In addition to the strikeouts, he was throwing tons of strikes for Fort Myers. He has a 4.86 ERA for the Colonels coming into this outing. So hadn't really been passing that test with flying colors, so it's good to see him turn in a good outing. Cody Morissette, mentioned he had a grand slam on Tuesday. 1st star on Wednesday. You see him there in his Jacksonville jumbo shrimp cap. Came over after being released by the Marlins, but a 2-homer game in which the Saints only scored 2 runs. So I think that's extra impressive that obviously the opposing pitching really held down the Saints lineup, but this guy managed to hit 2 home runs. Saints only had 3 other hits even. All of them were singles. And he was released by the Marlins, but is fitting in great with the Saints. Has a career 660 OPS in the minors, but is posting like a 8, flirting with a 900 OPS in his first dozen or so games with St. Paul. So Cody Morissette, 1st star of Wednesday. The honorable mentions are Ty Langenberg, Andrew Cossetti, Yasser Mercedes, Caden Kendall, and Quinton Young, who hit a home run, but also drew 2 walks on Wednesday. Moving on to Thursday, the 3 stars. 3rd star, Billy Amick. This guy just keeps popping up with these big games. 1 for 3 with a homer and 2 walks. His 18th home run of the season, which leads the system. Only 21 hitters across all of the minor leagues have more homers than Amick, and only 4 guys have more in Double-A. I should put it that way. So Billy Amick, one of the better power hitters in the minor leagues right now. Unfortunately, a very low average, high strikeout guy right now, but his first taste of Double-A. yeah, getting it done power-wise for sure. Second star, Ivran Romero for Cedar Rapids, another pitching performance. This was a lighter day performance-wise. This was that day where the system got swept. Nobody won. But Romero, 4 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. That was a big thing. 7 Ks and 4 walks for him as well, in addition to Riley Quick. But Ivran Romero is 9th in the system in strikeouts this year. He has an 11.9 K per 9 and a 25.2 K percentage. On the other hand, he's getting beat up pretty good. So getting strikeouts, but giving up quite a bit of damage. He was an undrafted free agent the Twins signed after last year's draft. He pitched for San Diego in college. First star of the day, Andrew Cossetti, who DH'd for Wichita, usually is a catcher, plays some first base. And he joins Alan Roden as the only 2 players with 4 first stars of the day on the season. So Cossetti, and he's been on fire. Over his last 26 games, Cossetti has a 398 OBP and a 620 slugging percentage with 10 homers over his last 26 games. He has a 15% walk rate over that stretch too. You see here, he hit 2 home runs on Thursday. So Andrew Cossetti, I think if you want to see Eduardo Tait move up to Double-A, you should be rooting for Cossetti to stay hot and keep his name in the conversation to potentially get promoted to Triple-A, which would open up some more catching opportunities in Double-A there. So we'll see what happens. He's not known for his defense behind the plate, so it's not really clear if the Twins would view him as a Triple-A catcher. But just from watching him, like I said, not really known for his defense, but I don't think he's like a train wreck back there. But there does kind of start to be a little bit more of an expectation in Triple-A, I feel like, on how you can catch and manage a staff. So I'm not sure if that's kind of a roadblock that's going to keep Cossetti down. But again, he's been awesome of late. He had a poor start, though. Thursday's honorable mentions, Aaron Sabato, Jorel Ortega, Jose Salas, Xavier Kohlhasser, and Caden Kendall. Also want to call out Tanner Schobel. Tanner Schobel made his 4th pitching performance. 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, and a strikeout. His first career strikeout. He has a 3.6 ERA in 5 innings pitched. Ben Ross tried to do the position player pitching thing and just couldn't get any outs. So, Tanner Schobel had to take over, show him how it's done. That was the kind of day it was on Thursday. Star scoreboard, this is the full year-to-date one. And as you see there, Andrew Cossetti has put himself into the top 10 with this great resurgence after a poor start, tied with Eduardo Tait and Kyler Fedko down toward the bottom there. Quiet early week for the top dogs, though. Not a lot of movement because we talked about Billy Amick. Quentin Young got some love, but not any movement. Culpepper obviously being hit by a pitch, but Merrick Houston kind of getting comfortable in Double-A still. Sprock cooled off a little bit. So anyway, again, there's some good stuff at Limestone Pipeline. Really want to push Jamie. We're getting really close to the draft. That's next weekend. Jamie has just been putting out awesome stuff. So go check that out on Limestone Pipeline if you're interested in the draft. Even beyond the number 3 overall pick that the Twins have, they're going to have good opportunities to add quite a few guys in the top 100 picks. So anyway, thanks for checking this one out. I really appreciate you. One more reminder that next week's going to be a little bit different. I might actually not have a video until a week from today. I'm not sure. I've got some stuff going on that's kind of creating uncertainty. I would love to talk about the draft on here, but not sure if I'm going to get the opportunity to do so. But keep an eye out still. I might be, dropping in some posts and other things. So keep an eye out, but we'll talk again soon one way or another.